into a comfortable seated or lying down position for meditation. As always, your choice whether you would like to close your eyes or find a point to focus the gaze. We'll just take a few moments to settle into the room. Just gently starting to draw the senses, so perhaps starting with the sounds you can hear. Temperature of the room or the feel of the clothes against your skin. And the contact with the floor beneath you. And then starting to draw that awareness into the body. Perhaps scanning from the crown of the head to the toes. Noticing any particular sensations that are standing out to you. And starting to draw that awareness to your breath. To begin with, noticing where you can feel the breath in the body, nose, chest, abdomen. And then perhaps deepening the breath any amount. So you might inhale and exhale for the same count, say for 3 or any number that works for you. Or perhaps you'd like to explore a longer exhale, maybe adding a couple of counts or exhaling for twice as long. Tonight's practice is going to focus on finding a sense of ease, giving ourselves that time and space to rest and restore. If you want to add any particular intention, you're welcome to do so. Or gently working your way to a comfortable seated position if you're not there already. Let's start with our usual neck stretches just to ease off before we come into a hold. So inhaling to reach the crown of the head up. Exhaling left ear to left shoulder. Perhaps moving the chin a little. As always, if you prefer the movement, you're welcome to move the neck in circles or semicircles. One more breath here. And then if you are holding on each side, gently moving to the other side, or perhaps continuing with your circles. Couple more breaths. And then gently coming back to center. A few shoulder shrugs, inhaling to reach the shoulders up. Exhale to release down the back. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more. Inhaling. Exhaling. And then we'll take those shoulder circles as well. So fingertips onto the shoulders. Gently making circles in one direction. You decide how big or small, how fast or slow you would like to move. Perhaps changing direction or continuing to go in the same direction. Couple more. And then gently releasing. Lovely. Again, any movement that you want to take. And then we're going to start with butterfly. So soles of the feet come together. Perhaps blocks or cushions underneath the knees. And you decide how close the feet are coming towards the pelvis. In this kind of class, they can be further away than perhaps in other classes, so see what feels right for you. And then the option to stay up tall or the option to fold as far forward as you would like to. If you find that you are folding quite towards the feet and you want a cushion to rest the head on, feel free to place one in between the feet and the head. We're going to hold here for 5 minutes to allow our body to find that sense of softness, to release any tension it needs to release. So perhaps taking a moment initially just to notice where you might feel the sensation, perhaps around the hips or the insides of the legs. If there's some achiness in the knees, it said you might want some support underneath them. Just noticing how intense those sensations are. And if it's feeling too intense, maybe moving the feet further away or having the chest a bit higher. You're in charge of the intensity of the posture. Perhaps noticing where you can feel the breath. If you are folding forward, it might be slightly more into the back of the body than the front. Noticing any particular sensations that are arising as you breathe, either at the nose or somewhere around the rib cage and abdomen. You have been here for half the time. So if you need to make any adjustments, you're welcome to do so. You could have the chest a bit higher or the feet further away if the posture has become more intense. Or the option is to fold a little bit further or draw the feet a little bit closer towards you. knowing you can ease out completely if you need to. Perhaps sending the breath into any sensations you can feel. Visualize breathing into that area, the breath expanding, creating space. Exhale, perhaps visualizing tension releasing from the body. If the mind has started to wander, gently drawing the focus back, just under a minute to go. Mind decide to wander, once again drawing it back, another 10 seconds here. And then gently releasing the spine, perhaps supporting the knees to draw them in together. And just taking a little bit of movement for our rebound, that space in between postures. Whatever the legs might be calling for, or if your back needs a little bit of movement as well, you could take seated cat-cows, lifting the chest and rounding the spine, or any other movement you would like to take. A couple more breaths here. And then I'll show you where we're going next. We're going to come into child's pose next, so we're going to be on our knees. So if you do like a little bit of padding, either underneath the knees or depending on what your padding is like, it could go in between. Oh, that can be quite nice. The knees can be as wide as you would like or as close together. It depends on your hips, what feels most natural for you. And then we are going to let the head come towards the mat. Again, if it doesn't reach comfortably, perhaps place a cushion to rest the head onto. The arms can be reaching out in front. Might add a bit of a stretch into the shoulders, or the arms can be reaching down by the body. Focus more on grounding and into the hips as well. So your choice. Again, we're going to be here for 5 minutes. This posture is really focusing on grounding, balancing your energy because of how connected with the floor that it is. So as always, take a moment at the beginning to find you the right shape, the right version of child's pose for you. So you can spend the rest of the time allowing yourself to be in this posture. Perhaps noticing where you can feel the breath. And again, with this one, it might be more into the back of the ribcage. And that's great. Use it in all of the lungs today. If the mind has started to wander, gently drawing the focus back to the breath. Perhaps focusing on those even inhales and exhales, or those longer exhales in this posture. You have been here for just over half the time. So again, if you'd like to make any adjustments, feel free to do so. Perhaps adjusting the knees or the hips. You can change the placement of the arms as well. And once you've found your chosen place to be, even if you've eased out of the posture, perhaps just taking a moment to notice where has that contact with the floor. Each inhale feeling the ribcage expand. Each exhale melting into the contact points of the floor beneath you. If the mind has started to wander, gently drawing the focus back for the last 40 seconds here. Inhaling, feeling the ribcage expand. Exhaling to soften into those contact points. Final 10 seconds here. And then gently releasing the hips. And again, just taking any movement that you would like to take. Perhaps straightening the legs, perhaps a little cat-cow, downward dog, whatever it is that you might need. And then gently finding yourself back in a seated position. If you prefer to be seated onto a block or a cushion, you're welcome to do so. We're going to come into a twist next. So bringing one foot flat onto the mat, say your left foot, right leg can be relaxed. And we're going to hug that left knee in, so either with the hand or with the elbow. With the right hand or elbow, and then the left hand comes behind the back. So just taking a moment to lift up through the chest, and then exhale, starting to twist around any amount. You can adjust how wide this left foot is, close to the right leg or out to the side, just so it feels comfortable for you. And then find your position to twist in. We're going to spend 3 minutes in this twist. So again, perhaps to begin with, just noticing where you can feel the sensations. Sometimes those sensations might be subtle. Sometimes you might not feel any at all, but it's worth just checking in across the back, seeing if anything does stand out to you. Feeling into the breath. Where can you feel that inhale expand? Exhale to soften. Again, the option to use those longer exhales if that works well for you. You have been here for half the time, so if you'd like to make any adjustments, feel free to do so. Each inhale, again, feeling the body expand, the breath drawing fresh energy in. The exhale, using this twist as a way to let go. Go of any tension, any thoughts you don't need right now. Allowing yourself just to be in the present. Final 20 seconds here. And then gently releasing back to center. Again, just taking a moment to take any movement that you want to take before we work on to the other side. And then in your own time, there's no rush. If you want to take a bit more movement first, you're welcome to do so. But when you are ready, again, we're bringing one foot flat. Doesn't matter where it is. And then using the hand or the elbow to hug in. Right hand goes behind. And again, just taking a moment to lengthen up and then twist. If you want to, you could place the right hand onto a block or a cushion if it feels like it's reaching for the floor a little bit, or you're finding you're leaning back a lot. Further 3 minutes here. Each time you move into a new posture, using that as an opportunity to check in. What sensations are arising on this side? It might be the same, it might be different. Where can I connect to my breath here? each time the mind tries to stray away, gently drawing the focus back to each inhale and each exhale. You have been here for half the time, so if you'd like to make any adjustments, you're welcome to do so. Once again, for the last minute here, perhaps as you inhale, noticing where space is created, maybe visualizing that breath drawing in. Exhaling, imagining that twist was wringing out anything you don't need. Last 20 seconds here. And then gently releasing. And again, just taking those few moments to move. Moving the spine, letting energy flow back into that part of the body, whatever it is that you might need. And then we'll gently work our way into our next posture. So we're going to come into a forward fold, but we're going to do one leg at a time. So we're going to bring one foot in towards the thigh, it doesn't need to be touching, and as always, if you want some support underneath the knee, feel free to grab some. And if you want to sit up onto a block, sometimes that might help to feel like the hips are coming forward rather than rocking back. So it's just an option, block or cushion. And then we're going to fold over the extended leg. A few things to think about with this extended leg is one, you can have a bend into the knee, and again you could put a cushion underneath the knee, particularly if the backs of the legs are tight or there's any unease in the knee, or it might change slightly where you get the stretch, so it's worth exploring that. And I'm happy for you to round the back if your back is happy for you to do that, but if there is any discomfort in the lower back, keep the spine straighter. Don't feel like you have to fold as far. Perhaps draw the toes towards you and you might then still feel it into the back of the leg. We're going to be here for 5 minutes. So, about an hour and 5 minutes, I've just put my timer on for 5 minutes. So, you've got time to explore, try different variations, to see where you might like to pause. And perhaps noticing what physical sensations are arising for you. How intense those physical sensations feel, knowing you've always got the option to adjust if you need to. And perhaps noticing where you can feel the breath. Can you direct the breath into the back of the body? Just seeing what's arising for you. There's no right or wrong way to breathe or answer to those questions. Just exploring where you can feel the sensations. If the mind has started to wander, gently drawing the focus back to the breath. You have been here for half the time, so taking a moment to make any adjustments. Adding a bend or straightening the knee. Changing whether the spine is long or rounded. Adding any support cushions, blankets, whatever you need. Even if that includes easing out of the posture entirely. Once you've reset, and perhaps as you inhale, feeling the body expand, exhale to soften and melt into the mat, feeling those contact points with the floor. You can use a natural rhythm of breath. The even inhales and exhales, or that longer exhale. If the mind has wandered, just gently drawing the focus back without judgment for the last 50 minutes here. Final 20 seconds. And then gently releasing, and again just taking those few moments to move the spine, perhaps arching and rounding, a little twist if you need it, easing to one side, and moving the legs in any way that you need. When you're ready, you can work your way onto the other side, but again, there's no rush if you want to move a little bit more. As you do move on to the other side, same things to think about. So the knee might need a bit of support on the foot that's coming in towards the leg. You can flex toes, or you can let the leg relax on the leg that's extended. And folding over that leg. So option to bend the knee as we did last time. Option to have the spine straighter. We're going to be here for 5 minutes. So, just as we did on the first side, taking that time with every new posture, having that moment to check in. What's the sensation like on this side? What's the intensity like? Do you need to make any changes to pause here? Where can you feel the breath? See if you can direct it into the back body. Perhaps deciding the flow of the breath if you like to count inhales and exhales. Each time you notice the mind wandering off, pausing and noticing that choice to draw the focus back to the breath, back to the present. You have been here for half the time, so just check in with that intensity of the posture and ask yourself if you need to make any changes. Easing out, folding further, coming out of the posture completely. Really being guided by your body, for our intention is to find a sense of ease. We'll only achieve that by working with body, using the sensations as a guide. And then again, perhaps drawing the attention to the breath. Inhale, feeling the breath, the body expanding. Exhale, releasing tension. Imagine it draining out of you into the mat beneath you. The mind has wandered, gently drawing the focus back for the last minute here. Final 20 seconds here. And then gently releasing the spine. Again, just taking any movements that you need to make, particularly as the spine has been in the same position for 10 minutes. gentle ease in, whatever your body's calling for. And then for our one before the final posture, we're going to come into pigeon. So 2 options for pigeon as always. The first option is to come from hands and knees and to bring, say, right knee to right wrist, the left leg to go back. And then you can adjust this right foot towards the pelvis or towards the left hand, depending on how strong the sensation is in the hips. Just be mindful to draw the foot in a little bit. It does help to just support the knee. So the toes are drawing towards you. And then you can lay down. If you've got a cushion or a bolster, you can lay over it if it doesn't feel like reaching the floor is the right place. Equally, if pigeon is not right for you, particularly if it brings up any knee pain, but for any reason it's not right for you, come to lie onto your back and you can cross right ankle over left thigh, let the right knee go out to the side, and then the option to draw that foot in, and you could place the left foot onto a cushion or a block, or you can hug it in with your hands. Whatever feels best, you just feed the right hand in between the gap in your legs, left hand either side. Again, we're going to be here for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Particularly if you're on pigeon on your front, it's worth just taking a few moments to just check in with the physical posture, because there are a few things to think about. If you find you're rocking over to the right, you need a cushion to prop you up. So underneath the right bum, so you can remain straight. Taking a moment to notice where you can feel that sensation in the hips. Might be a little bit into the hamstrings or the thighs. Noticing what's catching your attention the most about the breath. It might be the sensations, the nose, the ribcage, the abdomen. Perhaps the sound if you can hear your breath. Even inhales and exhales, or perhaps a longer exhale. You have been here for just over half the time, so if you'd like to make any changes, you're welcome to do so. And perhaps sending the breath down into the hips if you want to, visualizing. Breathing into where you can feel the tension. Exhale, that breath creating space, letting any tension melt away. If the mind has started to wander, gently drawing the focus back for the last minute here. Last 10 seconds. And then releasing however works best for your body. Again, releasing the hips however feels good for you, any movements that you want to take. Before gently working your way onto the other side. So same options, left knee to left wrist, right leg goes back, just drawing those toes towards the shin a little for support, adjusting the foot depending on what stretch you can feel and add a cushion if you need one. Or perhaps this is the side that you're coming onto your back. Left ankle crosses over right thigh, and then drawing those legs in towards you as much or as little as you would like to. Taking a moment, a check-in, assessing the sensation on this side, the intensity. It was probably going to be different, we're not completely symmetrical. So just tuning in with that, and just seeing if there are adaptations that you need to make that perhaps you didn't on the other side. Noticing where you can feel the breath. Noticing the sensations as you inhale and exhale. Each time the mind wanders, using that as an opportunity to refocus the attention. with the sensations in the body halfway through, an opportunity to reassess. See whether the body is asking for anything, honouring those sensations, those needs, whatever are arising. And then perhaps sending the breath down into the hip, if you would like to. As you inhale, visualizing the breath coming into where you can feel the tension. Exhale, imagine that melting away. If the mind has wandered, gently draw that focus back. For the last 50 seconds here. Each inhale drawing fresh energy into the body. Exhale in to release and soften. Final 10 seconds here. And then once again releasing from the posture. If you're lying on your back, you can stay where you are because we'll be coming to join you in just a moment. You're releasing from pigeon, just taking a moment to make any movements that you want to make. Before we come into Shavasana, we're just going to come to lie down onto our backs. And we're going to bring our feet as wide as the mat. And bring the knees in together. So we're just doing a bit of internal rotation because we've done a lot of with the knees out today. So we're just going to counter that by holding this posture where the knees come in together. You can rest the hands onto the body or onto the floor. You can close the eyes or keep them open. It's a bit of a, I guess it's partly its own posture in its own right, but it's partly a bit of a rebound from the rest of the posture. Just holding here for a minute. Perhaps following each inhale, each exhale. Perhaps using those longer exhales if you would like to. And now you're welcome to stay here if that's working for you, but if you'd like to come into a different position for our resting posture, Shavasana, you're welcome to do so, so the legs can go out long. You're welcome to take some movement on the way, any final stretches or moves the body is asking for, or if you prefer to be seated to end the practice, you're welcome to be seated as well. We've got a few minutes for Shavasana, so adding any warm layers that you might like, and if you like an eye pillow, You're welcome to use one, but you're also welcome to have the eyes closed or to keep the eyes open if you would like to. Taking the time to settle the body. Perhaps just checking in one more time. What sensations are arising in your body? There's no right or wrong answer. Just observing if any are showing up for you right now. Perhaps feeling into the contact with the floor beneath you. An anchor to ground you in the present. And then a couple of options for the last couple of minutes. You can stick with this contact with the floor, or you can focus on the breath. Perhaps just feeling the flow, each inhale, each exhale. Or perhaps those longer exhales that you could combine with the contact with the floor. So you'd inhale, feeling the chest expand, exhale, sinking into the mat. Each time the mind wanders, gently drawing the focus back. Just giving yourself the final minute or so to just be. Starting to bring a little bit of movement back to the body. Perhaps moving fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Taking any bigger movements or stretches that the body needs. When you're ready, you might draw the knees in towards the chest. And you can work your way to a comfortable seated position, however works best for your body. Once you've found your way there, perhaps bringing your hands to your heart centre. Take one more moment together. If you would like to, join me for a breath, inhale in, exhale in. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Namaste.